Alright guys, this is the Ford Performance TREMEC Magnum XL T56 6-speed transmission for the 2005 to 2014 GT Mustang. You're gonna want to check out the Magnum XL Trans if you have a built S197 and you're outpowering the stock MT82, or maybe even your other transmission choice. Most people won't consider a big upgrade like this one until their MT82 is in pieces and no longer functioning, but that doesn't mean you can't upgrade before losing the MT82. With no way to really build the MT82 currently, and I mean no gear sets and not much in terms of taking the MT82 apart and building it to be able to hold more power and torque, you're left with the option of upgrading the transmission entirely. The go-to upgrade for cars making bigger power numbers is the Magnum XL here. It is a T56 6-speed transmission with a generalized torque capacity of 700 foot-pounds and a 26-spline shaft, an extended length tail section with a solid mount direct shift design, and it comes with a shifter and TREMEC shift knob and an SFI-approved steel bell housing. Of course, the install for a transmission is going to be a difficult one, a 3 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. The Magnum XL transmission is what TREMEC calls a continuation of the Magnum 6-speed series. It retains the most important upgrades from the Magnum, but it has upgraded other areas to be a more specific and strong component. The Magnum Trans can be used in a wide variety of applications, while the Magnum XL is tailored more towards the S197 and S550 Mustang. The Magnum XL eliminates the multiple shifter locations and gives an isolated shifter instead. It has an extended length tail section, and this is a big upgrade for the S197 and S550, not only over the Magnum, but over the MT82 as well. This alone helps to eliminate a lot of the shifting problems that the MT82 has, so you don't have to worry about lockout or possible trans damage from a semi-remote shifter location. The other thing that's different about the Magnum XL versus the Magnum is that the XL eliminates the dual speedo outputs. Think of the Magnum as being for the older generations and the Magnum XL as being for the S197 and S550. Some of the great qualities that the Magnum XL gets from the Magnum and the TR6060 is that it is a stronger transmission. One way that TREMEC does this is through a different synchro design. The synchro assembly is thinner and therefore allows for room to add strength to the trans by adding surface area to the gears and the synchronizers. The added strength means more torque capacity. And when it comes to torque capacity, TREMEC rates this trans as having a 700 foot-pound torque capacity. But at the same time, there are Magnum XLs out there supporting higher numbers than that. TREMEC is very conservative with the rating, and they state that they don't like to get into too much detail when it comes to their ratings. The life of the transmission really depends on the driver and how they use the trans. So just know that the 700 foot-pound capacity might not necessarily be a hard cutoff. One of the big things with the Magnum XL transmission is the change in gearing. There is a lot of talk around the gearing, what it means, how the car will perform with the different gearing, and if you need to change your rear gears. And like usual, there isn't really a one answer fits all here. In order to understand it better, TREMEC tells us that when the torque capacity of the transmission rises, the first gear ratio gets lower, so that's where the gearing change comes from. The gear ratios in the trans are as follows. First gear has a ratio of 2.97, followed by 2.10, 1.46, 1.0, 0.8, and 0.63 for the sixth, with a 290 for reverse. The best way to summarize this is that if you swap to the TREMEC Magnum XL and you drive your car on the street, if you want to keep a similar street driving experience, you will need to change out your rear gears. If you don't, you aren't going to have the same type of experience driving on the street. Now, road race or autocross guys might not necessarily hate the new gearing setup, but just know that if you want to keep the same street ability, you will need to also change out those rear gears. What gear you end up going with will all depend on what you want to do with your car. Do you drag race? Is your car just a street car? This is where the extra knowledge of your build and what you're going for comes in handy. No matter what you end up doing with your rear gears, you will need some other things to make this swap work in your car. The first thing you'll need is a 26-spline clutch. One that's capable of holding your car's horsepower and torque, of course, and a one-piece slip yoke drive shaft, or basically a drive shaft for a T56 upgrade. So you're looking at picking up at least those two things. If you have a GT500, you will also need an adapter for the factory hydraulic release bearing. If you have a GT, your factory release bearing will work just fine. It's just the GT500 that needs the adapter. Then you have the speedometer. The 05 to 10 applications are a direct plug-and-play design when it comes to the speedo, but the 2011 and up models will need a speedo recalibration through tuning, or you can pick up a signal converter box instead. Most people tend to pick up the speedo recalibration box and fix the issue that way. When it comes to price, you're looking at spending close to $3,800 for what you see here. Then you have a $100 handling fee, but that'll wrap up the cost of the transmission itself. You do need to keep in mind the other items you'll need, like the clutch, drive shaft, rear gears if you're taking that plunge, and anything else that you might need. Either way, this swap is a very solid investment in terms of both money and time. As I usually say, you have to pay to play, and this case is no different. The install for this, or any transmission for that matter, is going to be a 3 out of 3 wrenches in the difficulty meter. You can expect to spend a day or two, probably a good weekend in the garage getting this done. Of course, a lift is going to be your best bet here. You're looking at dropping your cat back, your drive shaft, swapping your clutch, and possibly pulling your pumpkin as well if you're planning on doing something with your rear gears. Even for experienced guys, this will take a day or two, and I wouldn't really call it a project for someone with only a little bit of experience. This is not a plug-and-play install. Depending on what your Mustang you have, you may need some additional things, like a speedo recalibration box. You'll need to be able to determine what exactly you need to grab elsewhere to make this setup work for your car and be able to get it installed. That's going to be it for the TREMEC Magnum XL T56 transmission for the 05 to 14 GT Mustang. You can always check it out more online right here at AmericanMuscle.com.